Hello and welcome to TheFederal. Today we have with us a very important and eminent guest, Mr. R. Kannan is a political commentator and a biographer of two important political personalities from Tamil Nadu. His books MGR A Life and Life and Times of C.N. Annadurai has been published by The Penguin. Thank you very much for joining us today, sir. Sir, I wanted to start by asking for your first comments on actor Vijay's statement and his entry into politics. How do you see that, sir?
I find it extremely brave that actor Vijay, who at the pinnacle of his film career, has chosen to actually plunge very deeply into Tamil Nadu's politics. I consider it extremely brave because his predecessors were unwilling to do this. And none of these actors from Tamil Nadu who had decided to take the plunge into politics were willing to give up their very successful film career. So I actually congratulate him. I welcome him, and only time will tell if he is acceptable, he's accepted, his services or his decision to sacrifice and then to give himself back, as he has said, full-time and in a more complete manner to the people of Tamil Nadu who had after his parents, to whom he owes his success and fame, is to be seen.
Okay. Sir, you are someone who closely followed the lives of actors or people from film background who have entered into Tamil Nadu politics. You've been the biographer of Anna and MGR, and you closely followed the life of Jayalalitha. After perhaps Jayalalitha, not many people who came from film background were really successful in Tamil Nadu. So do you think Vijay will be able to break this jinx for actors, sir?
Firstly, for non-Tamils and people outside Tamil Nadu, it must be bewildering that people of a filmy background tend to make it with a splash into politics. Yes, MG Ramachandran, MGR, Jayalalitha, and then prior to them, film writers, C.N. Annadurai and then Karunanidhi have had a very successful public career in Tamil Nadu. Many of the others who tried to ape them, you could think of people like Sivaji Ganesan. Didn't have, he was well known, very well respected, an extremely successful thespian, but was not, nobody took him seriously as a public persona as far as a politician. I mean, he could make it to the parliament thanks to his association with the Congress, etc. Then you have a number of actors who aren't at the I would not consider them on par with MGR or Sivaji Ganesan, but lesser actors like Sharath Kumar, Bhagyaraj, T. Rajender, and of late, more recently, Vijay. Of all these people, I want to point out that at one point in time, the DMK offered 11 assembly seats to T. Rajender's Thayagam Arumalarchi Kazhagam. So even a traditionally strong party which has its fingers or which understands the pulse of this state believed that T. Rajender was a force to reckon with. He ended up winning 2 seats, himself and another one of his other colleagues. So these actors were not that successful. However, Vijay broke that mold because people liked his simplicity. People actually liked the way that he was modeling himself after MGR, who had given us a success a template for success. So he was the dark-skinned MGR or black MGR. He was known for his generosity. He had a good image. And this was a man who could relate to the masses and the masses could relate to him. Okay. But then he reached a point where his success had stagnated. He couldn't penetrate any further, at which point he realized that he could shift the scales between the two Dravidian parties to which he had positioned his party as an alternative. So then this catch-22 situation as to whether he stagnates at that level or whether he joins forces with one of these parties and then becomes the kingmaker, bringing them to power, confronted him. And the decision that he took pitchforked him into a very critical position, the leader of the opposition. But then his health and in the miscalculations brought him down. It would be a counterfactual to realize what would have happened if his health was good, if he had, after the 2016 elections, if he had tried to, establish himself independent of the two Dravidian parties, how people would have related to him is a counterfactual. We would not know.
So would you draw a parallel between MGR, Shivaji and Kamal, Rajinikanth? Both the actors, both Rajinikanth and Kamal wanted to, at least Kamal has taken the step, but Rajini was toying with the idea till then and finally withdrew. So do you think, this is kind of a legacy in Tamil Nadu, like there are people who are at the helm in their film career and then they decide to come to politics. So how do you see this trajectory?
Correct. We are the forerunners of this trend, right? But we had, even during the Congress times, the stage and films spoke of the freedom struggle, spoke for the freedom movement and so on. So it was not the discovery of the Dravidian movement. Then after independence, the stage was of no use for the Congress party. That is when the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam took advantage of it and then found, what it did was it elevated actors into somebody. Okay. So you had a group of very talented people coming up with what was considered progressive, a casteless society, a socialist society where everybody had everything, a society without any needs and wants and so on and so forth. So at which point you had these two or three very talented actors like S.S. Rajendran, you had K.R. Ramasamy, you had Shivaji Ganesan, you had M.G. Ramachandran. M.G. Ramachandran was a late bloomer. Okay, he had been in films from 1935-34 onwards, but he comes into his own only in the late 40s, and that in association with Kalaignar M. Karunanidhi, where they worked together for Rajakumari, which was their first movie. MGR, I think, from the beginning was a man out there for the masses. He enjoyed being amongst people, it appears so. Okay. Shivaji Ganesan, on the other hand, saw acting as a profession. It was out and out a career for him. So he excelled as an actor. But on stage, off stage, with the public, I don't think that was his calling. He didn't feel it within himself. MGR felt it within himself. From the early 1950s, his movies were scripted accordingly. The lyrics were written to fit a particular image of a do-gooding man, and that grew. But I don't think he wanted to launch his own political party.
Okay. Because I wanted to ask about Rajinikanth and Kamal Haasan in particular. So, do you think Kamal Haasan, he also started by saying the same thing, that he wanted to bring in a new idea of politics and he wants to take on the Dravidian parties, but it looks like he's in talks with the DMK. And Rajinikanth, till the end, he was trying to start a political party, but that never materialized. How would you see these two actors?
MGR had charisma. Rajinikanth had charisma. Shivaji Ganesan, I would not say had charisma. I would not say Kamal Haasan is an actor who has charisma. It's very hard to define or understand why some people are charismatic and some people aren't. MGR was charismatic. Yeah. In fact, Shivaji Ganesan had told his scriptwriter Arur Das, I give my life and emote and act, and here is my elder brother, MGR, who just comes in and waves his hand. and the audience goes into raptures. So you can't explain these things. There is some connect between these people, right? Rajinikanth was a very charismatic man. And that is why when he was toying with the idea of entering public life, everybody was interested. And then we were all very disappointed when he finally decided not to take the plunge. Kamal Haasan, as Vijay rightly has pointed out, this is not an entertainment, it is not a hobby. Public life is a full-time commitment. I don't think Kamal Haasan, although he said exactly the same things, that he wants to give back to the people who made him, etc. All these people have the same script. They say the same things, that they owe it to these people, and then it is time for them to do something in return. In fact, I remember what Kamal Haasan said. He said, I've never acted in a film without taking any remuneration, but this is something that I want to do because I want to give back, right? But I don't think he was serious about it. Again, going back to MGR, although he floated his party in 1972, he continued to act until he became chief minister. Okay, he was an exception. We shouldn't be comparing. Not everyone can become an MGR. Times have changed. MGR was different, and MGR had a 30-35 year public life behind him when he was 55 and floated his All India Annadurai Munneta Kazhagam. Okay. So that is why I'm intrigued when actor Vijay says that within 2 years he would come to power.
Okay.
I don't think that that would be a miracle if that were to happen.
Okay. So one more question is, there are people who've come from film background and have made it very successful, and there are people who've come from film background and have not been able to be successful in Tamil Nadu politics. So what do you, do you think coming from a film background itself is translates as success for, do they think that they will be successful if they come into politics because they have a film background, they have some kind of popularity? Does it happen? How do you see this?
Films are the most...
Also, I'm asking this question because there is this perception outside Tamil Nadu, like you rightly mentioned, that anybody from film background will become successful in Tamil Nadu. But sitting here, we know that's not the entire truth. So I just wanted to understand.
No, film and cricket are the two very popular public vocations, if you may. So anyone who, thankfully, no cricketer had ever wanted to become a politician in Tamil Nadu, but we can't rule that out. So a trend was set in the 50s. You saw, it took 18 years for the DMK to come to power, by the way. Despite being them being very powerful orators, very powerful writers, etc., it took that long to dislodge the Congress. And it took a rainbow alliance from the left to the right to bring them down. So all this has to be borne in mind. So people here seem to think that the essential qualities of a politician is, firstly, your name should be out there. Okay, and the medium, the films do that, right? They take you to the nooks and crannies of the state, you're there in the living room with the rest of the family. Every family knows you. Vijay is a household name. Okay, he's at the pinnacle of his film career. So if he thinks that, if he would be received well, and people will be happy for him to come in and take a leadership position, he's not entirely mistaken. But will that suffice is the question, because there are other things that it's like saying you need money power to win elections. So then the country should be run by industrialists, right? You just can't buy votes. People are very sharp, very smart. They have defeated. Sivaji Ganesan lost in Thiruvayar. Janaki Ramachandran, the widow of M.G. Ramachandran, lost in Andipatti. So people are not as simple, and we can take them for granted. So the imponderables about Vijay are, he doesn't have an organization. He has a huge youth following. And you can see that, what he needs is people who can advise him properly and who can launch him. Although he says, I have looked at my predecessors who have understood the heights of public life and who have scanned the length and the breadth of public life, and I've been conscious of this. I'm prepared, I've been preparing myself, and I've taken the plunge. Now only time will tell if he will be, if he can make his words come true. He has a huge challenge before him. There are two very strong parties that have an organization, and there's a committed vote bank for these political parties. So who are your voters? What is it that you're putting out for these voters? What is it that will be different that you will provide to these peoples that the other extant parties cannot?
Okay. So, I mean, we have to keep talking about MGR, but for MGR fan clubs, Rasigar Mantrangal was of huge support. Don't you think that will work in favor of Vijay? Because he's got fan clubs, which has also done many philanthropic work, if I may say. So, don't you think that the fan clubs will be of some political support to Vijay?
The big difference between MGR fan associations and in Vijay fan associations is MGR fan associations had a dual role. They were not just fan associations, they were also extensions of the DMK. They were politically aware. They knew what political organization was. They took people to polling booths. They did acts of what you would call as service-oriented activities. They fed people, they ran evening schools or reading rooms. All that was there, but they were also deep within DMK followers. So some of them did not move with MGR. They stayed behind.
Okay.
And MGR had an 18,000 strong fan club. Those 18,000 strong fan clubs in one day decided to become the 18,000 strong units of the Anna DMK.
Okay.
Okay. And today the game has changed. You need people in booth committees. Okay. These booth committees organize votes because elections, politics is all about elections. If you don't win elections, nobody's going to take you seriously, right? So, I understand that the BJP is unable to fill all the 75,000 booth committees in Tamil Nadu. And this is a party that is in power at the federal level, at the national level. It's unable to. It has money, it has people, it has an ideology. We may not agree with that ideology. And yet, it has a very dynamic leader here in the state, okay? Yet, it is unable to simply find people for these many booth committees. Can Vijay do it? Mm-hmm. That is a question. So, today the game of winning elections has become very, very, very tricky. There's money involved. There's a lot of organization, mobilization that is to be involved. And Vijay as an actor is well known. He's there with us in every living room. But Vijay as a politician, what are his views on X, Y, and Z? These 2 years will decide all that. And this is going to be these 2 years are the years of opportunity, but they're also 2 years of challenge.
Okay. So my final question is about the fact that MGR, Karunanidhi, everybody they belong to the DMK. They didn't start their own party unless like MGR had differences with the DMK and then he came out. So they basically started with the DMK, which was an already established party, if I may
Correct.
say that. So basically the actors who now wanted to come, I see that there was one trend of actors coming after MGR's death. There were the 1988-89 T. Rajendra and Bakiraj started their political parties. And now after the demise of Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, we have many actors aspiring to become politicians. But they have, I mean, is it, what I wanted to really ask is they are starting their own political parties. So is it challenging because they are fundamentally starting something of their own rather than attaching themselves to a party that's already in existence? Does that make the difference?
I don't know. Imagine N.T. Ramarao. He didn't belong to any party. He founded his own party, and then within 9 months he was able to come to power because he rode the wave. There was a need for somebody to speak about Telugu self-respect, which he did. None of these people whom we had listed, Sarath Kumar, for instance, or T. Rajender or Bhagyaraj, they were, firstly, they are not of the same league as Vijay or Rajinikanth or MGR or even Shivaji Ganesan for that matter. So they could do nothing better. Kamal Haasan, for instance. I mean, imagine Kamal Haasan in a party. He would be, I don't know, this is, Shatrughan Sinha could be part of the BJP. Amitabh Bachchan could be part of the Congress because these are parties which are national in character. So let's assume that you are Kamal Haasan and you would want to join one of these national parties. The minimum that you want to be accorded is that you head that party here, which happened for Shivaji Ganesan when VP Singh became the head of the Janata Dal. And Shivaji Ganesan, and many of our viewers would not even remember this, was the head of the Tamil Nadu unit of the Janata Dal.
Okay.
Does anybody remember?
No.
No. Yeah. So the alternatives are the alternatives are not there. So therefore these people, and then they know, I mean, all of us can dream of becoming everybody seems to want to be the chief minister of Tamil Nadu. It's a horrible job to begin with. I don't know why everybody wants to, I think Jayalalitha wanted to run away. I think even MGR did not like it. He felt that he was fettered after becoming chief minister. He was a very reluctant politician and chief minister, by the way. He was not a reluctant politician until he was with the DMK because he had the best of both the worlds. He had a captive following. His movies, so he had bought insurance, so his movies would do well. But after he took on the DMK, then it was a completely different ball game. His freedom was gone, and whatever he said was parsed, analyzed, criticized, dissected. So Vijay is into very, very, he's into the rough and tumble of politics, and it's going to be merciless. He's going to, there will be times when he would really rethink his decision. I hope he doesn't, because this is a man who says that he wants to really do good. And other than the fact that he wants to do good, there shouldn't be anything else that motivates him, because is he short of money? Is he short of fame? No. People will give an arm and a leg to be in his place. So he has everything. So this is a decision that should be welcomed. And then we need to see how he grows into this mold as a politician, as a future leader that he positions himself to be. I think he needs people who are well versed in this art, who could guide him properly. He needs people who can, his following can be young. His advisors should not be young.
Okay.
They should be experienced.
Vijay's, the statement, as you said, is very comprehensive, it's very clear, but it doesn't mention about his ideology. There's been confusion about Tamizhaga Vetri Kazhagam. There are people who criticize the fact that he's used the term Tamizhagam also in his party's name. So what do you think will be the ideology of Vijay's party?
I think Tamizhagam is a very good choice in my view, because Tamizhagam would comprise Pondicherry as well, number one. It will also comprise people who speak Tamil all over the world. So, and then he had made it very clear that but if you look at the statement, he says that Tamil Nadu aligned policies. So, Tamizhagam has been broken into Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is his focus. He says that in the next months, the party will come up with its policy statements, its goals, its objectives, and an organization, etc. So we'll have to wait. The question remains, should a party need an ideology today in India? Okay, you have on the right, you have the BJP. At the center, you have the Congress. You have the leftist parties onto the left. And a whole host of other parties which are in between. Now, does an average voter really think about a party's ideology before he goes to vote? I've seen commentators argue that a party without an ideology will, over a period of time, not last. Okay, so they explain that actor Seeman's party, for instance, has a Tamil nationalist credo. So there are die-hard followers who follow this particular creed. I am not so sure. Vijayakanth didn't have a policy. For that matter, what is the policy of the Dravidian parties? When MGR floated his party, people wondered what was his policy. And he came up with a paper called Annaism, which was suspected to be a draft by his leftist friends from the CPI. Because it spoke of many of the ideas that it propagated were similar to what the left was propagating or putting forward. So the question is, Vijayakanth in fact mentioned, Vijayakanth came up with a few simple schemes. He said, I would make sure that ration for goods would be delivered to your home. Now you see this happening in Delhi. Aam Aadmi is implementing it. And Vijayakanth had mentioned this about 15 years ago or 10 years ago. Kamal Haasan, for that matter, said he would see that every woman in a household was paid. You see 1,000 rupees being granted to her. Whether it is good or bad is a different thing. So even if Vijay comes up with a set of simple ponderables, promises like my member of parliament, my legislative member will firstly stay in his constituency or her constituency, will be accessible, will have an office, will be available for X many days in the constituency, and comes up with constituency-wise promises. Simple, doable, not that it will be done, but they will do their best to make it happen. Simple. And transparency and a clean government. I think those should find traction with the average populace, I think. People want they want their lives to be simple. And what people want is, all these youth want is jobs.
Yeah. So also, Vijay says that he's not contesting the 2024 elections,
Correct.
he's contesting the 2026 elections, and he wants to capture power in 2026 assembly elections. So, do you think it's possible for a party to capture power within 2 years of its launching?
Vijay is very ambitious. I mean, anyone with such a following, you can excuse him because, but ambition killed Caesar, isn't it? So, 2 years is, I find it as an impossibility. He has set this very, difficult agenda for himself. Vijay is likely to poll anywhere between 5 and 10%. Okay. Now that took about 10 plus years for Vijayakanth. That probably, I surmise that people would be generous to grant that much to Vijay at his first innings. However, you need anywhere from 25 to 30% of the votes. And even MGR in his first elections in 1977 only polled 30% of the votes. So this is an impossibility in my opinion. And once he reaches there, I think Vijay is in this for a long haul. It will take him to get this 30% at least 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Is he there in it for the long haul? Does he have the stamina? Will he stay? Those are the questions that we need to pose.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, there is much speculation about whose prospects Vijay's party will actually affect. There are people who say that it will affect DMK's prospects, is cutting into DMK's vote bank, and there are people who say it will be cutting into the BJP, whatever vote bank is there in Tamil Nadu. How do you see this?
I think Vijay's entry will affect every party, but more so the DMK because it happens to be the ruling party.
I'll keep this as my last question. So I know you've already had 2 books to your credit. I know what I wanted to know what you're working on next.
I had, as you know, I'm the biographer of C.N. Annadurai and MGR. So these two talk about the politics of Tamil Nadu and then the Dravidian movement's history, and then bring it up to 1987. My third book, which is it's called the DMK, it's tentatively called the DMK Years, Ascent, Descent, Survival.
Okay.
Is what it is titled for the moment. It will bring the history of Tamil Nadu up to 2024. So it will look into the socio-political history of the state in the last 75 years, with the emphasis being the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. It will be a very objective account, and it's for people to see if that is the case, as I claim it to be. It should be out in the summer.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for all the information, all the anecdotes that you shared with us. It's been very interesting and very privileged to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kavita.
Extensive, unbiased, thorough. The Federal Pudhiya Thalaimurai Apt Nationwide 2024 Pre-Poll Survey gives you the pulse of the nation. 7 p.m. on the Federal's YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.